Activision devs do not play their own game. It's not your dad doesn't support you.
You should know, you worked at a coffee shop, you stupid bitch.
My name is Casey, and absolutely not fucking Tanner, because my parents don't hate me that much.
Hey, did they have just 8 patches lined up, but they just didn't release them because they were on break? No, you moron kids.
Then we'll, of course, get into it. Change your fucking name and get scammed. He's feeling under the weather.
I probably won't say another word until Stay Humble, so have a good pod, Raz. I'll be here listening.
Got it. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Directly following COD Next, welcome, boys and girls, to the Dropshot, a Call of Duty podcast. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. I am, once again, he's back, joined by, back from the Islands, Tanner Dropshot. How's it feel to be back, Tanner Dropshot?
Terrible. Really bad, yeah.
Yeah, why is that?
Because I'm in California.
The island was that good to you, huh?
A lot better than here, yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah, didn't have to think about Call of Duty once. I think that was the best part. Not ever thinking about COD. Well,
maybe now you'll be happy thinking about Call of Duty because we're finally getting some info, some news, a lot of fucking details after COD Next, which we just watched. So, welcome to the show. Today, we're talking COD Next. So, there are timestamps if you're a new listener. You can skip to whatever section you want. Here's what we're going to do today. We have a couple announcements. After that, we are going to basically talk about everything we saw in the COD Next presentation. The order that we will be talking about things is basically the order they talked about things. And then we're going to cap it off with our impressions of having seen the streamers at COD Next playing the multiplayer alpha gameplay that they have been playing and are still playing right now. So originally our plan for today was going to be to continue to watch COD Next until the streamers also started playing Warzone 2, which they will also be doing today. However, we got a lot of info and we did not want...
Jesus Christ.
That is so loud. Hold on.
Yeah, holy shit. That was like... Sounded like someone was like right next to your microphone shaking like a jar of pennies or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Tell them Saturday.
Tell them Saturday. Oh, like what we're doing for the episode Saturday? Yeah, so this is going to be kind of a clusterfuck today, by the way, boys. There will be things that have been mentioned that we either missed or are just going to forget to talk about. There's entirely too much. If you want every little detail out there, go to Charlie Intel's Twitter. They've already tweeted about 120 times today. You can read it all there. We're going to mostly talk about what they talked about and the things we saw. We watched a lot of streams for like last hour and a half or so. All we've been doing is watching streamers play the game. So we've been watching probably about 7-8 different streamers going through, controller players, keyboard players, people sniping, people using ARs. A lot of different gameplay there, so we'll discuss what we saw. We'll discuss what they talked about, what they confirmed, etc. So that's basically what we're doing today. And then Saturday, they're supposedly playing and streaming Warzone 2 today. We don't know when that's going to be. We've already been live for over 3 hours. We're not waiting any longer, and then also recording a super long pod after. So we're done. We're going to talk about Call of Duty next. As for what they've talked about with Warzone 2, Modern Warfare 2, and DMZ, which has finally been confirmed. We'll get into it. And mostly talk about what we saw from the early Modern Warfare 2 gameplay today. And Saturday, we will be discussing Warzone 2, hopefully.
Yes, because before we started recording today, we were actually going to discuss all of that today. And then our first impressions of having seen the beta, because the beta is going live for PlayStation. Mm-hmm. But, I mean... we saw pretty much all we're going to see from the beta already. the alpha gameplay is like the same shit the beta is going to have. And if there is going to be more new information in the beta that's not in the alpha the streamers are playing right now, it won't be much more. So this is going to make a lot more sense. So today it's going to be COD Next and largely multiplayer focused. But again, like Tanner said, we will be talking Warzone, everything they talked about at COD Next. We were writing down notes as the stream was going on. We did hit a lot. We're going to hit a lot of everything that's really big and important we're going to talk about today. But there will be some details I'm sure we missed or something. And, you know, the game will come out. We'll get into those at another time. So, yeah, definitely be here for the Saturday episode. It's going to be really fucking good. I am extremely excited to see Warzone 2.0, especially in light of some of the things we've learned today, in fact, which we're going to talk about right now. So before we get into that, a couple of quick announcements. To all our new patrons, thanks. I will go and roast you and do all that shit next week. Next Thursday. We're not doing that today. This is already going to be a very long day and a long podcast. So if you're a new patron and you're malding and seething that you're not getting acknowledged, you will be next week. Just don't worry about it. I have a log of all of our new patrons. We'll just get to the 2 weeks worth next week. Patreon.com/thedropshot. Early access, ad-free episodes, and bonus episodes. Check it out. Best way to support the program. Next is a very fun and exciting announcement. Ted Timmy Timmons, the teller of tall tales on the TL. We talk about him a lot. He is Raven's fucking studio head or lead dev or something. Senior creative director. So he's the guy in charge of making creative, quote unquote, decisions for Raven Software and by extension for Warzone. And as you also may know, if you've listened to this podcast ever, we are not fans of the direction that Ted Timmy Timmons has taken Call of Duty and Warzone since Caldera came out, essentially. So we've talked a lot about Ted and about how much of a disaster he has made Warzone with all of the, I mean, virtually innumerable changes he's made to the game. And he tweets a lot, and he said he replied to Charlie Intel with a dumb joke. He said, QA bot is where you'll find me and my fellow bots playing in a playlist. The context doesn't really matter. Our very own lag show, Lagstifer, replied to this tweet from Ted and said, you don't play, stop the cap. Ted Timmy Timmons then quote tweeted Lag's reply and said this, quote, we really need to move away from, quote, devs don't play their own games, end quote, as we play a lot more than you think. And he says, but yes, I still need a 100% Fable. And he provided some screenshots of his account. By the way, lead dev of a technology company, right? And he's taking pictures with his phone of his monitor, by the way. Senior creative director at a technology company is taking pictures of his monitor with a cell phone. So that's just the cherry on top. And of course, and he's showing that he's like, I don't know, played Plunder and won 300 times. So this is hilarious. And he also followed our podcast account on Twitter. Is he still following, Tanner?
I could check. Probably not, I would guess.
I would not be surprised if he has since unfollowed that account.
Yeah, I think that's
actually.
I would be
unsurprised. He still does. Okay. So that was after this quote reply, I believe.
Yes. That was after this.
So I have a lot of thoughts on this, and a lot of this is going to be, I don't know, personal. This is personal for me, and I have a lot of thoughts. Yeah. So when he says we really need to move away from devs don't play their own games, as we play a lot more than you think, in his reply, he's implying that this is a common thing people say on Twitter, that the devs should play their own game more. No one says that.
No, there's a lot. He does reply to these tweets like almost daily. There's a lot of people that do say that on Twitter. Yes, a lot of people. That he
doesn't play the game?
That none of them do. Yeah. There's a lot of people that say that. I think that's why he replied to he's replied to like numerous people that say this shit all the time. That's like the latest good, like SJW video game designer, their thing to say. They always just tweet something out about like people think like developers aren't playing their own video games. We play them, we ship them, blah blah. It's like going around like that's what all the video game devs are talking about right now from everywhere, not just Call of Duty.
That's very interesting because I feel like I've looked at quite a few of his tweets and replies and I don't really see it that often, but you're on Twitter more than me, so I'll take your word for it. So interesting. Still find it very funny. It was lag. Find it very funny. He followed our account afterward. Why would he follow our podcast account on Twitter? I don't understand. There's no chance he's listened to the podcast, right?
Someone retweeted his tweet back to lag. Someone quote tweeted it and tagged us in it. Someone, Nico on Twitter. Whoever Nico is on Twitter. And then when he quote tweeted that, Ted followed us right after.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
So that's what.
So Ted, if you find yourself actually listening to this podcast, I want you to listen to the very first line of the intro. Activision devs do not play their own game. And here's the thing. Either you don't play your own game, which is bad, or you do play your own game and then you make the decisions you make anyway, and that would be even worse. So this is not a defense you want to erect for yourself, because I don't know what's worse. I don't know if it would be worse if he actually played a lot and then still chose to make the tokens at all and to make them entirely too loud and to have hero and villain contributions at buy stations and to die to precision airstrikes in buildings and be on record in your official patch notes saying this is working as intended. I want you to die in buildings. I don't know if it would be worse if he played a lot and was still willing to do all of this and more, or if it would be worse if he were simply lying and he does not play his own game. I don't know what's worse. Neither one is very good, though. So, real cool slam dunk on the TL, Ted. You did a great job, man. Just excellent.
I think way worse than Ted's tweet. One of the other game designers, Tully, we've talked about him also. He's the senior game designer at Raven. He replied to the tweet and said, quote, "What they don't realize is not only do we play our games more than they'll know, is that we're even more frustrated by issues and know what could have been before scope. You are not, because you've obviously never have played the game and thought, oh, the audio in our game is fucking terrible. And it's been bad before you even joined the company and Raven started working on the game. And now it's even worse than ever. So no, you're literally not frustrated more by the issues, and you are lying. I don't care what you think, you are wrong. It's really that simple. You're not more frustrated, believe me. Hey, you're not fucking raided, dying in a $100,000 World Series of Warzone tournament and losing that money because he died through a building with an airstrike. Totally. Sorry, you're not. So fuck you for saying that, you cocksucker.
That is true.
You stupid
bitch. To be fair, what is Tully's job title again?
Senior game designer.
Oh, never mind. Okay. I was going to let him off the hook, but never mind. Yeah. Hey, if you're the senior game designer, you have the authority to fix these problems that you are supposedly more frustrated about than we are.
Yeah. So fuck you. Frustrated. I don't think you've ever fucking slammed your desk like some of us do every single death in your game, because there's no such thing as a legitimate death in Warzone. It's always something cheese.
What an audacious thing to say too. I'm the senior game designer and I'm more frustrated by problems in Warzone than you guys are.
Did you try fixing them? Fix those problems.
Why would it then? Hey, exactly. Then why not fix them though? Or why not tell us why you refuse to fix them?
Or tell us why you made the lighting so much worse for no fucking reason.
If you're just some random dev, then you can make that statement. Fine. But if you're the senior game designer, you have the power to say, all right, this week we're fucking fixing footstep audio, but no. And then there's no explanation as to why these issues won't get fixed. He just says, oh, it frustrates me too. I could do something about it ostensibly, but I choose not to. Instead, I get frustrated. Why don't you fix it then? Yeah, it's insane. It's outrageous. So shout out to Ted. I hope you listen. And you won't, of course. But don't tell me you play your own game. Because either you do and you make the worst decisions imaginable, or you actually are just lying and you don't play your own game. Because if you did, many of the changes you made to Warzone would not have been implemented or would have been reverted. And many of the problems that are in Warzone would have been fixed. Duh.
Yep.
So thanks, Ted. Got it. So shout out to Lag, who deserves a medal for getting this tweet.
Lag was just drunk tweeting at a baseball game or something.
Yeah, well, he struck gold, and I'm thrilled about it. That tweet from Ted is now my Twitter header.
Is it?
So, yeah, of course it is. And it's going to be hard to unseat that tweet. So, anyway. Shout out to Lag. Shout out to Ted Timmy Timmons, teller of tall tales on the TL. Now, last announcement from me. We will be doing Patreon episodes this month. Unfortunately, my power will be out tomorrow. We were going to record some eps tomorrow, at least one, but I don't know. They're fucking putting up windmills or some shit. So my power is going to be out tomorrow, so we're not going to be able to do that.
We'll see. Sometimes it doesn't actually go out. We'll play it by ear, see how it goes.
This one definitely will, but if it's up, if it's up by like 12 or 1, then I'd be down. So it's unlikely but possible we'll have a Patreon episode up on Saturday. However, we haven't forgotten about the Patreon, and we have got a lot to talk about. We would have waited until right now either way to start doing Patreon episodes, because now we have just a dearth.
Too much content.
Yeah, so much content to talk about. And so many topics to hit on the Patreon with COD Next, and later we're going to see Warzone gameplay. There's going to be a fuck ton to talk about. So those are going to be really good. Very excited for those, and those will be coming, at least starting to come out at the latest next week. So if you want to get your hands on that, patreon.com/thedropshot. Tanner, other than that, do we have any other announcements?
No, I think we'll get into it. As we said, this order is going to be weird, but we're discussing it as we wrote down notes as they talked about things, what we thought was kind of important and what we noticed. So it'll be all over the place, but
correct.
That's how it is.
Indeed. Yeah. So, if you're listening for the jingle, here it is.
Like the new hat?
Reflex, that's 400 wins in Warzone /plunder/resurgence. Ooh, a cute little hat. Koala
Nice.
rum.
Koala.
Kaloa?
Kaloa rum.
You drink some Kaloa rum? How was it?
Yeah, we went on a rum safari. We'll talk about it when we do our behind the scenes this month. Talk about what we did. It was fun.
Where can people listen to the behind the scenes we're going to talk about?
Patreon.com/thedropshot at the Damascus tier.
All right, welcome to the show. Today, COD Next. Holy shit, man. What an event. I'm going to start by saying my expectations were met for how much information we were going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I suspected we were going to get a lot of information, and we got that amount. I didn't get more than I thought, but I had pretty high expectations in terms of how much content we were going to get. So we did get quite a bit of information. Yeah, dearth is literally the wrong word. That's what I was going to do. Look that up. So yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot, and we are going to talk about it as we wrote things down in order, which is basically their presentation order. So yeah, we'll feel a little all over the place, but everything they talked about, we're going to get into. So Tanner, what is this first note? This is super interesting.
So pretty sure this is not the case. They specifically mentioned early on how realistic gunplay comes into their game. It's, similar to MW 2019 with the gunsmith and everything. One of the leads of Infinity Ward, and think this is probably not a true statement, is claiming the bullets come out of the barrel, and wherever your barrel is pointed is realistically where the bullets will land. I think a lot of people overlook that and don't realize. I don't think that's usually the case in Call of Duty, if I'm not mistaken. The bullets come out of your scope, basically. So
that's why head glitching is so good.
Exactly. So you got to think half of those kills you've gotten on Verdansk, where you're on a rooftop looking down on someone, they only see the top of your head. If this is true, that the bullets come out of your barrel, that is not the case anymore. That is like entirely getting rid of head glitching like that. So that's actually a really good thing, is if this is true. Interesting though, no one mentioned anything about this. I think people just skipped over that. They figure that's how it works. That's not ever how it works though. The bullets come out of your scope. Like in Tarkov, the bullets come out of the barrel. You'll be scoped in on something, you'll shoot and you realize, oh shit, the gun hit this piece of steel on the railing right in front of me and didn't penetrate it, so my bullet didn't go anywhere, even though my reticle's right on the guy because the bullet comes out of the tip of the barrel. So if this is true, and honestly I'm not sure, the dev may be entirely wrong. This is probably also the same guy who said there's no skill-based matchmaking in large-scale game modes in Call of Duty. Yeah. So I wouldn't doubt if this is just not true, but that's something to look out for, because that will really, really help with the head glitching and people camping on roofs, especially in Warzone. So keep an eye on that. I thought that was super interesting to hear, though.
I agree. Yeah. This is something you will just never think about if you're a casual player. But in the vast majority of video games, shooters, your bullets don't come out of the barrel. They come out of, like your mouth or like your scope or wherever. And that's why head glitching is possible. Have you ever thought, when you're looking up on a rooftop and you only see a guy's head and then he shoots you and kills you, how the fuck that's possible? Because in real life, that's obviously not possible, because his gun isn't showing, his barrel isn't showing, meaning if he pulls the trigger, he's just shooting into the wall of wherever his gun is behind. That is how it works in a game like Escape from Tarkov, for example, which is like more realistic, on the more realistic end of shooter games, where you can be scoped in on something, but the bullet actually comes out of the barrel. So if Tanner explained this adequately. I will just say this: I find this super unlikely.
I literally think he's just straight up wrong. Yeah, I really do.
Wrong.
That's also why I pointed it out.
Come out of the barrel.
Yeah, I agree. That'll be so easy to test too. We can test that in the beta and see if that's true or not.
Yeah, in 2 seconds. Yeah. So, I keep an eye on it, because that makes head glitching way worse, which would be good. I would be in favor of this, but I don't think bullets are going to come out of the barrel. I think they're still going to like come out of your mouth. Next here is the third person mode. So they've introduced a third person mode. Apparently this was in COD 4, MW2. I do not remember that.
It was like a side game mode, I guess, not popular at all.
Oh yeah, that's not COD 4, sorry. MW2, the original one. And it was not popular. Yeah, I forgot it existed. I never played it then. And they showcased it, in fact, during the streamer time. That's what I'm calling that now, when the streamers started playing. And it looked fucking horrific and bad. And here are my brief thoughts on the third person mode. If you want to make a third person shooter, go make one, but putting it into your FPS game is dumb. I don't really care, because I'm just never going to play it ever. Even if it was good, but it's also not good, at least not in the alpha. And one very bizarre quirk about third person in this game is that you are in third person until you ADS, and then you're in first person. So ADSing in first person and third person game modes is exactly the same. Now, in a third person shooter like Gears of War, if you were using like a sniper rifle and you scoped in, it would take you into first person with the sniper scope. But if you ADS without a sniper scope, with like a, iron sights, then you'd stay in third person, but your reticle would get smaller to indicate your ADS. That is not how it works in this game. Every single gun, if you're using an iron sight pistol, whatever, anything, You ADS, you go from third person to first person, and it's very weird and jarring. In addition, we were watching some guy named Scope. Tanner, you didn't see this. And he was sniping. And when he was playing the third person mode, he would ADS, he would scope in, and then a full 500 milliseconds later, his scope would render.
Oh,
it
like
was
the reticle would appear?
Yes, it was not the reticle, but like the actual, well, yes, the reticle.
He'd be looking down it, but it would just be empty.
There would still be the white lines, but there wouldn't be like like the black with the red dot cross. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that. So it looked fucking awful. Just terrible dog shit trash. But it even looked bad without the snipers too. I hated it. I'll never play it, but I don't care because you can avoid it easily. So those are my thoughts.
My biggest thing is I don't mind it. I like third person modes. In COD though, it seems weird. The third person games I've liked have been third person first. Like primarily it's a third person
exactly.
game. H1Z1 number one third person game. When I think of H1Z1, I think of third person shooter. PUBG when it first came out, I think it was only third person to start with, or if first person was there, it was not nearly as popular. PUBG was third person first. So when I think of the early days of PUBG, I also think of third person. Now first person is way more popular and that feels normal, but for COD, it just feels off, but I also don't mind it at all because this is not something they spend a bunch of time on. Literally nothing is different. It's just, it changes, it pulls the camera out. So they didn't waste a bunch of dev time designing this at all. Nothing else is different. So they didn't waste time. It's a mode some people will like, some people will play it. It won't be very popular, I can guarantee it. They already said it'll be its own playlist. And it'll kind of be like a rotating playlist, like they mentioned something about it'll start with like Hardpoint, and then eventually they want to get like Search and Destroy, and almost like it's not ready for a search. So obviously they'll be making changes to that all year long. Like the scope issue you're talking about, that's obviously a bug. They'll fix that, things like that. Yes, I would love to see, I would actually probably really like this mode if there was a setting to ADS and it zooms in over your shoulder and it ADS is third person. That would make me actually, I think, enjoy this game mode a lot. Or if you build like a super good hipfire class, it could be fun too if you don't have to hipfire, run, jump around corners, hipfire, spray in third person.
Yeah,
that could be fun. But all in all, this won't be a popular game mode. Another thing they did mention, they said, quote, we want to try it in BR. So that's something to look at some point in the future. Again, it'll be a side game mode. It won't replace first person ever. It'll just be in there. And, third person BRs aren't competitive at all, but Warzone's already not the most competitive game ever made. So, that'll be interesting to see and try as well. It's kind of cringe, though. People just sit behind buildings and camera around the corner and wait for someone to come up and then pop around. So it's way less competitive than a first person shooter, but they can be fun for what it is. So I think this is fine. Again, didn't waste like any development time designing this. They knew it was easy to add in, so they did it.
Yep, I agree. That's why I'm not that mad about this. Yeah. Yeah. So it is now confirmed you cannot slide and shoot, and slide canceling is in fact dead. It's gone forever. This has been confirmed. Yes. So why is that? Now we have the details. You can't interrupt this. You can't even cancel a slide. So when we had talked about slide canceling not being meta anymore, we were saying you should still be able to cancel your slide. You shouldn't have to commit to the full slide. But if you do cancel your slide, that should not reset your tack sprint. That's what Tanner and I wanted. That isn't even what we're getting. You quite literally can no longer cancel a slide. Once you are sliding, you are fully committed to doing the entire slide animation.
Yeah, which is like 2 seconds. It's a long time you're sitting there stuck.
I don't know about 2, but it's pretty long, yeah. And when you're sliding, you can't shoot. So moving around and just sliding like we do is completely gone now. Terrible strategy, terrible idea. And really, it looks like the only reason to slide is to just like quickly get to cover or something. And shrink your hitbox while you're like trying to get to that last wall or building.
That's
or
the way they
whatever.
described it as being used. It's basically to get away and get into cover faster.
Yes, but on the topic of slide canceling, it is completely done. You cannot even cancel a slide, let alone it resetting tack sprint, which I don't like. I want to be able to cancel a slide. I just don't want it to reset tack sprint. However, this is a moot point now. They're not going to introduce slide canceling. That's done. You fully commit to a slide once you start it now, and you can't shoot at all while you're sliding, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, that's a thing. And this is a radical departure from MDub 2019. I was under the assumption we were going to be able to cancel the slide. It just wouldn't reset tack sprint, but that's not even possible. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I kind of think it makes the game feel a little clunky, that you're kind of stuck in that animation. I'm not a big fan of it. I would almost rather, if you can't even come out of it, it just not be in the game. Like, I unironically may just like unbind it or something because I don't want to get caught using it. I mean, every single time I saw someone use it, they got gunned because of it. Every single time someone... But it's, because they're all used to doing it. It's a bunch of CDL players, Warzone pros. That's what they're used to doing, and they can't anymore. So yeah, surprisingly, I think Ghost of Hope actually leaked this. He was actually right about something. So it is the way he described it, which was like sliding as defensive and dolphin diving as an offensive movement, kind of. Never saw anyone using that, though. I saw like one person use it like one time. No one ever used it in a fight. I really wanted to see how that mechanic worked. Drop shotting is in the game, by the way. But when it comes to like the sliding, I don't know. It seemed like way too clunky and just unnecessary that like you can't come out of it at all. It doesn't make any sense. It's like a bad way around getting rid of the slide canceling issue. It's like, so I can jump in the air and shoot fine. I can jump in ADS and be like accurate with a sniper rifle even, but yet when my character's sliding, I don't even have the option to shoot. Unnecessary, clunky. I think it's a poor design. I just don't like it. Yeah.
It seems to me you really should be able to shoot with like hip fire. So I think a good change, a good comp. Now, granted, we have not played the game, but I'm pretty confident saying this. I think a start to a better change, because they're not going to allow slide canceling. That's gone. There's no way they're going to allow it. But one thing they maybe could do that I think they definitely should do is that if you're going to make me fully commit to this slide for a second or however long it is, pretty long time, you should be able to at least hip fire. I agree you shouldn't be able to ADS while you're doing it, probably, definitely. But you should be allowed to hip fire. It's dumb that you can't.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't make any sense for the realism people out there.
Yeah, they claim
like
all this
hand,
realism and
it's not like you're dropping your gun. It's in your fucking right hand. Like your trigger is still in the same fucking spot. I don't get it. Yeah. It's very weird. If you can shoot while you're b-hopping twice, then why can't you shoot while you're sliding?
Exactly.
It's very bizarre.
A lazy and poor design to get around the slide canceling issue that people have complained about for a few years. It was the laziest and most simple way to fix. Oh, just don't shoot and sliding. Boom, done. Simple and just stupid. So I'm not a fan of it at all.
And they would still completely accomplish their increased accessibility goal if they allowed you to hip fire while sliding. That's not anti-accessibility at all. So I don't know why that wouldn't be possible. I think it's dumb. Mm-hmm. So hopefully they add that in. I am not confident they will, but we'll see. It's going to depend on the player feedback. If a bunch of big streamers ask for hip fire to be possible while you're sliding, I think they could add it.
Infinity Ward doesn't listen to players.
If a bunch of big streamers ask for slide canceling, they won't add it. Say again, sorry?
Infinity Ward is the last studio to ever take criticism, though, and change it. They literally don't care. They design the game that they want and don't listen to feedback at all, no matter what they make you think. They don't. They're the worst at that. That is
absolutely true. Yeah.
So
they won't. So we'll see. Anything. But I'm not a big fan of it. I will also add, though, this is not the end of the world for me. Some people are a lot more upset about this than I am, frankly. And we will adjust. There have been COD games without sliding at all. there's still plenty of movement techniques that
there's
you
like
can,
the double bunny hop and everything too. Even.
Exactly, yeah. There's still a lot you could do with your movement to outplay people. There's still definitely a skill gap. And slide canceling to move around the map faster was not a skill gap that was worth cultivating anyway. We've talked about that. But I don't like this. But I don't think it's the end of the world. So anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be weird going straight from Warzone or Vanguard M.2019 to this once you play the beta. But once the game launches and you have played it for 10, 15 hours, you won't even really think about it anymore.
Get over it.
You'll get used to the new movement. It won't even take 15 hours. It'll be like 5 to 10. And
yes.
you'll be chilling.
Agreed. Next, the heartbeat sensor has a battery now, which is fucking huge. This is something we've asked for 3 years. So now you can't. This is going to be way more relevant. This is only going to be relevant in Warzone.
And they mentioned that, yeah.
But you can't just sit in a building forever and hold a heartbeat sensor. It has a battery life now. I have no idea how long the battery lasts. I have no idea how well the heartbeat sensor works, how quickly it sweeps, the radius, no details. But the heartbeat sensor is now limited use, which is just of course, this is a good change, and they should have done it for Warzone 1.
Yeah. I wonder if it's just going to be like a cooldown, or if it's actually like when it runs out of batteries, you can't use it again.
I think it's the second.
Interesting. Okay.
So you'd have to like find a new one. Which kind of makes sense, because it's like I throw a stun grenade, I can't go fucking pick it up again. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
I have to get a new one. So I would like a heartbeat to just work that way as well.
By the way, they're unfortunately starting Warzone in like 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, whatever. We'll watch it.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah. So next thing, the weapon vault system, the Cinder weapon vault. Tanner and I hypothesized, I think this was Tanner's idea actually, that when you buy a weapon vault, that would be basically, I buy an M4 weapon vault. It gives me every possible M4 attachment in the Cinder camo. So it's like got the red and the yellow or whatever the fuck in that particular pattern on every single possible attachment. And then I can swap them out at will. That was our theory. So you get away from the Franken blueprint, as the lady put it. And that we were correct. We were oracles. This is exactly what a weapon vault is. You buy a blueprint, but instead of it having the unique blueprint / camo design on the 5 attachments plus the gun they give you, it is on all of the possible attachments plus the gun they give you, which is very cool, very good. Love to see it. And we were correct. Again, that's the most important point.
I don't know if you just mentioned it, but it also, all of your attachments are unlocked when you buy one of these weapon vaults. So they're not going to be super common, I would imagine. There'll probably be, 1 or 2 in the store at a time for different guns. And I'm sure these are going to be like $30, honestly. There are a lot of operators that are $20. So I would imagine these be at least $20, $30. They're going to be expensive.
Minimum 20.
Little pay to win, but we'll get. I think we'll probably do a Patreon episode going more in depth with some of these things, like the gunsmith, because we could talk about the gunsmith right now for an hour and a half basically, and we just don't have time to cover that. So I think we'll get more into that, because they talked about this a lot yesterday when they put out info regarding the new gunsmith and everything.
Did they talk about the limitations of the gunsmith in the intel drop? Like how many attachments you can run?
They didn't specifically say, but all of the images were attachments like out of 5.
Okay.
So I think we'll probably go over that and get into specifics more. That'll be one of the Patreon apps coming this month for, everyone.
At patreon.com/Dropshot.
But for now, we're not really going to cover that, because they didn't talk much about that today, really.
Yeah, they barely talked about it at all. But yeah. So anyway, there you go. Next, Ground War is confirmed. We got it.
Let's go, baby.
So they talked about a couple things. There's regular Ground War, and then they also talked about a new Ground War game mode called Invasion. And this is, so like Ground War in MW 2019 is domination with 5 flags. And then there's 2 teams playing Dom, and they call it Ground War. That is still going to be in this game, but then there's also another mode called Invasion, Ground War Invasion, which is going to be team deathmatch. So there won't be any flags to cap. You could play however you want. It's literally just a big team deathmatch on a ground war map with ground war team sizes. And in addition to that, there's going to be AI on both teams. So kind of bizarre. And I'm also unclear on if killing AI gives you a point on the scoreboard. That would be odd. But
Farming streaks from AI, yeah.
And if you'll get streaks, that's another great question. But I don't know exactly what the deal is on that. But ground war confirmed, very cool. Ground war invasion, I won't play it, but it seems like a decent enough game mode. I don't really like that they included AI. I don't care. I don't want to fight AI in multiplayer. But it's not terrible. It's not the end of the world, and I'll take it. It's not the most offensive thing Activision has done. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, they did also specifically state with this one, this mode was designed with AI in mind. They did specifically say that, so there's going to be AI in different variations. They'll be in Warzone as well, which we'll talk about. But this mode was kind of like designed to have AI. Again, not really sure how I feel about it. They mentioned something about they'll be coming in on like little birds, they'll be coming in like in parachutes or something. So maybe they spawn differently than players too, and you can tell like right away if it's a bot or not. I'm actually kind of, as I talk here, I have Husker's stream pulled up on the side, and they're playing Invasion right now. I can say the map looks excellent. It looks like it's like a little it's like a desert map, like in a little town in the desert, and there's a lot of buildings, frankly, but all of them are like 2 or 3 floors high. The ledges on the roofs, I'm noticing, by the way, aren't high like on Verdansk, where there's these super tall ledges. They're like shorter, maybe less head glitches and shit in general, less places to camp and be ratty. But I also just don't. If it's actually just like TDM, there's no reason to play TDM. Like there's really no reason. The only thing I can think of is maybe, again, weapon camo mastery. This could be good for, especially if you're like farming bots and shit. Like if you need to get long range kills and you can farm a bunch of bots, this could be a really quick way to do it. I mean,
that's a great
Huskers
point.
right now is just going bonkers, killing everyone. So he's already gotten a shitload of kills here in a couple minutes. But regardless, I will actually probably still like this better than 6's. I just don't care much about 6's COD anymore, frankly. So I'm very glad they're changing it up with ground war, doing different game modes. I would love a ground war that's boots on the ground always. I would love to always have that playlist, because that was the best playlist in MW 2019, was specifically the boots on the ground, ground war variation, no vehicles. It wasn't ruined by anything like that. It was a lot better. No APCs roaming around killing everyone. So I'm hoping we get that too, but as of now, it's confirmed like regular standard ground war and then invasion. And I think they also mentioned the max is 32 versus 32.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
pretty typical.
That's a great point about farming camos on AI. That's really interesting.
Interesting. The post-game scoreboard even shows your KD, like your KD that game. That's interesting.
That's cool.
Was that anywhere in MW? I don't think it was.
I think if you
kills,
were playing,
death, assist, and your overall KD that game.
I think it depended on the game mode. If you were playing TDM, I think it did show it, actually. I don't remember, though. But anyway.
Yeah, I guess it was in some game modes.
Next point here is, this was just a comment made by one of these IDub devs, or game designers, or whatever. And he said, like, we tried to contrast clearly our 6's maps versus our ground war maps. And the way he was talking about this was basically him saying, yeah, in MW 2019, we kind of tried to run the whole gamut with 6's maps. So we had maps like Shipment, but we also had maps like Grozny Raid. And we're not doing that anymore. 6's is going to be for small maps, and then Ground War is going to be for big maps. We're not going to make fucking huge maps in 6's. That was kind of the impression I got when he was talking around this issue.
Same.
And he did say something very specifically about contrasting 6's and Ground War. That's not a verbatim quote, but it's close. And then he was also talking about how quick the 6's maps play. And he was talking about sixes maps in general, which is an extremely good sign. Because if an iDub game designer thinks a map plays quick, then it's probably a normal sixes sized map, which is what I want. So that's really, really good. And it sounded like the team, which we've already been speculating on based on things we've heard up until this point, is aware that the maps need to be different than they were in MDub 2019.
Yeah, when we heard that, we were both like, "Oh, nice," because they did specifically say, and that is true from what we saw in the beta. A couple of the maps seemed a little bigger, at least one of them. Little too slow for sixes, in my opinion, but I think it's good to have a balance. I mean, it still was. There were no Grozna raids sixes. That was certainly close. So.
Correct.
It's good to have a balance of really fast pace and then a little bit slower maps to throw in there because some play better. You know, maybe the smaller maps play better for hardpoint. Maybe the bigger, slower maps play a little bit better for search, and you kind of need a combo of everything. So not all of them can be super fast paced. But a lot of them we saw today, it was like constant action on Dom and hardpoint. You know, spawning in. You start shooting at someone within like 5, 7, 10 seconds. Pretty common, no issues finding people at all. So I think that was a good sign. And that does really seem like they learned their lesson from 2019 with the poor map design. And we're back to, pretty much all the maps today were 3-lane design. Ones that I can think of that we saw, so that's good.
Oh, I don't think we wrote this down. I'm going to mention it here before I forget. The mini map is just like MDub 2019.
Yeah.
Which is cringe. In other words, it is always on your screen. However, if people shoot bullets and they don't have a silencer, their red dot doesn't appear. The only way you can get that to be the case is with something called like an ultimate perk called Bird Eye. I don't know what ultimate perk means exactly. We've been trying to figure it out and we can't tell. I don't know if this is a field upgrade or if everyone gets ultimate perks or how that works. We will have more details undoubtedly soon, maybe even by Saturday, but I don't think we talk about them then. Certainly by next week. But yeah, the minimap works the same as it did in MDub 2019 by default. And there is a compass again, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah, and all the dots show up on the compass instead, so you know the direction. So now you have to stare at the compass and the radar again. Correct. Whatever, though. We bitch about it at the start of MDub. Honestly, got used to it pretty quickly. So it's just another one of those things. Doesn't need to be changed, but whatever. We've played it before. We'll get over it again, I guess. We'll see, though. I mean, even Charlie Intel's already tweeting at Infinity Ward to make it normal. All the leaks that everyone's talked about, by the way, said that it was in an earlier game build. That they had seen months ago. It was always in until recently, supposedly. So again, maybe it's something they'll go back and change again. They didn't mention anything about it, of course. You just see it through the gameplay. So we'll see. They could change things in the beta. Maybe it'll be like last MDub 2019 beta, where one weekend they added the radar to always be on your map, or the mini map to always be on your map at least. Maybe they'll try something like in the open beta this weekend or the next weekend where they add it in and see what people like better. But like I said, it's Infinity War. They don't care about criticism at all. They design their own game. They don't care what we think.
Sadly. So there you go. And then we got a peek at some new maps. We're not going to talk about these too much because you guys are going to see a bunch of it in the betas. But they gave us a little peek at Seraph. Which is like a battle map, and they use that word to refer to ground war maps. Don't know why. And it looked cool, I guess.
It was part of the main map, wasn't it? Didn't they say most of the battle maps, or some of the battle maps, are just parts of the DMZ Warzone map? Okay. So probably all the launch ones will be part of it, and then ones we get after further in the game's life cycle, I bet, won't necessarily be part of the main map. They'll just be new battle maps.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, the Seraph definitely is part of the Warzone map, which we'll get into. So yeah, that they showed Mercado as well. Mercado. It has a longer name than that. Las Almas, I think.
That was the tiny one, by the way. That was the one that I was thinking was really fast and you get an action right away. And they described it that way. It plays really fast.
It does indeed play really fast, and it is sunny out. It's bright, real small. We'll get into it. But yeah, any thoughts on that?
No.
Did we get into it? Did I write this down?
We'll talk about the maps more at another time, I think. We'll probably come back to the maps once we actually play them. Watching gameplay and playing it are two entirely different things, so we'll see how we feel about the maps next weekend.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I agree. And again, you guys are going to be seeing a bunch of gameplay. I don't think it's worth talking about the maps that much right now. What is this point, Tanner?
That we already talked about. That was the invasion mode. We just both wrote things down.
Oh, yeah. Okay. They showed us Prisoner Rescue, which was a leaked and or announced game mode. I don't remember which. It is an asymmetrical multiplayer mode where there are attackers and defenders. The defenders have 2 prisoners, which are, it turns out, I'm almost positive, it is just 2 AI prisoners. They're not like players from the other team or anything. They're just 2 guys that are like tied up and they're AI. And the attackers are supposed to go up to them and start carrying them. And when you're carrying a prisoner, you can only shoot a pistol. So if you don't have a pistol, you can't even shoot at all. And if you do, that's all you can shoot. And then you carry them back to your exfil, which is like where you spawned, basically. And you have to rescue 2 prisoners.
Yeah.
There are no respawns, but you can revive. So
it's like cyber attack and MW.
Yes, exactly. So that looked pretty interesting. It looked pretty fun. You know, I don't think this is going to be a particularly popular game mode, but it's a cool, neat little idea. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, gave me Rainbow Six Siege type of energy, the way they kind of described it. I don't know if there's like a starting period where defenders can kind of like set things up, like how Siege is, where you have like a little timer where you can do things. But they almost made it sound that way because they said it's like the prisoners are marked on the map, and then once the attackers pick a prisoner up, it no longer tracks them on the maps. Then it said the defenders have to then fall back to the exfil zone and set up like reinforcements there to try to defend. So my also other thought was this sounds very easily defender heavy. Like if they have like one zone to exfil, it's like, how are you going to die from that? You're just going to sit there, mount on something, lay prone. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like you said, side game mode, it won't be very popular, I'm sure.
They also brought up another game mode called Knockout, which they were supposed to give us details on, and they just didn't. They just not? Forgot. Yeah. Because he specifically asked about those two. He was supposed to get details on both. He didn't. Which is fine. It's obviously not that big of a deal because they were so not excited by it, they forgot about it. So cool. I don't know what Knockout is still. No one does. Who cares? They mentioned Spec Ops. And now we're going to get into Warzone 2 when they started talking about Warzone 2. So we learned quite a bit about Warzone 2. Now, reminder, we haven't seen any gameplay of it yet. As we're recording this, they are just starting to
they're about to start
for Warzone. But this is based on what we heard from COD Next, from the presentation. All the mechanics and shit are going to be exactly the same as multiplayer, just like MW 2019 and Warzone 1. No surprises there. The new map is confirmed. It is called Al Mazrah, and it is indeed the exact map, exact layout that Thomas Henderson, friend of the pod, leaked. That is the map.
Yeah,
are we able to pull up an image of that thing, Tanner?
Ooh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Let's get a little image of that thing showing.
Let's get one here. Let's get that sucker. Did you post that in there? Yeah, you did post that. All right, let me get this thing. Image. Oh, whoops, I don't want that. Hold on, I want the link.
Nice little Al Mazrah.
Al Mazrah. Looks clean, I know that.
It does look pretty fucking clean, man.
Okay, hold on, boys. Let me see if I can get this pulled up here. Nope, not it.
Smile.
Yeah, no, I'm not pulling this up right now. It requires too many other things that I'm not going to sit here and do. Anyways, it's clean. You guys can find an image of it. I'm sure Charlie Intel has already tweeted it out. But it is exactly what Tom described. All the POIs and everything.
Yeah. And there are a number of MW2 maps nested in Al Mazrah. So we have Quarry, which is a POI that is going to be the multiplayer map Quarry. We have, let's see, Airport. That is Terminal. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, they did actually confirm that.
Yes. Observatory is supposedly an MW2 map. I don't know what map it is, but they were saying they wanted to drop Observatory because it would give them nostalgia or something. I don't know.
Yeah, what the
if
fuck?
This was like a DLC map in MW2 or something, or if this is just an MW2 map by a different name. I have no idea. But I don't know what it is, but it is a remake of something. And there might be some other ones here too that we don't know about quite yet. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the observatory shit was either. That confused me. They like made it sound like it was super obvious, and I'm like, what are they talking about? But anyways, the map looks good. It's like desert. Got a river running through it, exactly like we talked about and Tom described. Bunch of open water. Boats are there, of course. Swimming is there, all of that. So looks like a good map. Not super vertical. All the screenshots they showed early on, it's not that easy. Just load it up. I got to change all the scenes and change how all the sources. You don't understand, but yeah. It literally never works when okay, well, I literally anytime I ever load up the scene, it resets and doesn't work. I don't want to sit there and show all of our notes while I try to do everything else and pull the image up and link it and change the source viewer for that. It's a disaster. So anyways, the map looks good. Looks really good.
The biggest BR map? I don't recall them saying that.
They did. So it's the biggest BR map we've made.
I wonder how much bigger it is.
Could be 1% bigger. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. They did not tell us the player count, which is interesting. So we don't know what the player count's going to be yet. But I think we're going to find out today. So by the time you hear this, we will probably know. At least what they do in the alpha.
Of course, Warzone's not working. Everyone keeps getting errors nonstop.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
Nonstop.
So, a couple things that are in Warzone 2, an armored patrol boat, and then there's like little regular transport boat raft kind of deals. So the armored patrol boat is armored and it has a mounted gun on it. So those are going to be in. Black Hawk and Little Bird. So a Black Hawk, there's a big helicopter. Little Bird, I don't know what that is. What is that?
That's the helicopter we have now. It's been in Warzone.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're going to get an additional helicopter type. Seems kind of unnecessary to me, but there you go. You can shoot off tires and shit. This was leaked or even talked about. I think this was actually officially talked about.
Yeah, it all blends together now, what was leaked and what was official. I don't remember at this point, so we knew something about that, though, yeah.
Yeah. One thing, again, I don't know if this is leaked or if it was talked about officially, but vehicles will require gasoline. I suspect when you get into it, it'll have full gas, and then you can only drive it a finite amount of time. If you want to refill your gasoline, you can. You have to go to a gas station. And I'm imagining you don't have to fucking get out and pay at the pump. You probably just park by a gas station.
Grab the pump, stick it in there.
Stick it in your ass. Stick it in my ass. Fill me up.
Nope.
I imagine you just park in an area and then your gas station meter just kind of like fills up. So that's kind of weird. I don't really know how I feel about that, but it's probably good. So that people can't just fly around forever, for example. You have to like come down and get gasoline. I think that's probably a good thing. I do wonder how this will work with boats.
Well, how will it work with helicopters? Did they mention that? Because I think they did say... They basically said that not all vehicles will require gasoline.
Yeah, they like wink, wink, nudge, nudged about that and then didn't elaborate further.
The helicopter thing almost doesn't make any sense because it's like, what are you supposed to just land it at a gas station? And
that would be the best case scenario, though. If there's going to be gasoline, that's the reason you want it.
Because that was a huge problem in Verdansk. Everyone would just get a, Get
little
a
bird, little
most
tiny
wanted
bird.
usually, I guess, and just go park somewhere up on the side of the mountain in Verdansk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just constantly fly around at the highest level and just keep avoiding everyone.
So I don't know how it's going to work for boats. Are there going to be fucking gas stations on the water?
Probably like by the docks or something. I think
Yeah.
that makes a lot more sense than the helicopter thing. It's just going to be weird having to like land a helicopter and then fuel up at a gas station next to a truck. I don't know. It's a little odd. Or maybe there'll be different places. Maybe they'll have like helicopter like landing pads and they refill there. Not sure.
Yeah.
But
So
all
right
in all,
now, by the way,
I think it could help late game.
yeah, I think it's
And
probably
solos, people driving around nonstop. If like the zone doesn't have a gas station in it, maybe less vehicles. I don't know. Oh, I don't really care. I've said this
good.
so many
Forces
times.
people to move more. I think that's good.
True. I've said this so many times, and I'm going to continue to say it till Warzone 2 comes out. Give me something so fucking different than Warzone 1. I want nothing to feel the same. I want an entirely new game, and it's a lot of little changes like this that make it feel that way. So I'm all for it. Give me change
I agree.
fucking everything.
I'm fine with this mechanic in theory. So, by the way, we have a live stream pulled up of the Warzone gameplay. They're loading into maybe finally
Who?
getting into the first Huskers Warzone match of the day, and waiting for lobby to fill is out of 102 people. So this is an alpha. That number is absolutely subject to change and probably will. I can't imagine this is the biggest Warzone map they've ever made with the fewest number of people ever, but just something to consider.
Oh, wait, this is very hilly. This area is at least observatory. A lot of
real
hills.
hilly.
Could even be something like 50 AI and then 100 players. I don't know, though.
I hope not, but maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, look at
Maybe.
that. His ATV started with 3/4 gas.
Yeah.
It wasn't completely
And
full.
it's a decent amount of gas. You can drive for a
Map
while
looks
with
pretty.
it.
Visibility looks... Oh, he just killed himself by jumping
He
off.
did.
Visibility looks pretty good on it, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't see any massive
does.
sun glare. It looks pretty clean.
Yep.
Map looks pretty beautiful.
Yeah,
Just
not
that
very
middle
hazy
area.
looking.
Just that middle
No.
area has hills around Observatory, which makes sense. The highest point, right in the
Yeah.
middle there, but not nearly as high as like Peak.
It's really not hazy at all. If you're this high up on Caldera, it's just like haze everywhere. I'm not seeing any of that, which is a really good sign.
Yeah.
So that's really fucking nice. That's good. So anyway, moving on here. They are introducing fucking proximity chat
Huge.
in Warzone, dude. This is massive, man. I am extremely excited about this. I don't know why they're doing it, but I fucking love it. And this is going to make for great content, and it's going to be funny as fuck to play with as well.
Oh my god.
I'm extremely excited about this.
Again,
Yeah.
another great thing H1Z1 had, proc chat. You could just tell people like, peek me, pussy, and so toxic. I frankly can't. I think I was on record saying this. No way Call of Duty in today's day and age, the absolute SJWs that are there at that company would add in procs, knowing it's going to be so toxic. But hey, maybe they want to just ban more people for being toxic. So if you curse,
Yeah, I can't
they'll
believe
just
they're
ban
doing
that. It's unbelievable to me. I never thought we'd see that. So really, really like it. Just didn't expect it.
Yeah, for sure. You wrote crates, loose loot.
Yeah, so normal chests are coming back, and then there's also loose loot coming back. And on top of that, a lot of different things with looting that they mentioned too, which is interesting. So he said things like, when it comes to like meds, we wanted to make it almost like they wanted to make the map feel more like realistic and alive. They said something along those lines. So if you go into a house, there's a bathroom in the house, probably. Most houses have a bathroom. So you go in there, there'll be like a medicine cabinet. You loot the medicine cabinet like it's a container, and that will have meds in it.
And I don't know what meds means exactly. I'm assuming like stems and plates, or maybe just
Not
stems.
sure. Well, yeah, we'll find out here
I guess
pretty
we're
soon.
about to find out. Yeah.
There are, yeah. I'm kind of watching Huskers on the side here as we play. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. Another thing he said, hidden caches in the ground for other loot, where you can kind of develop your own looting path. So there's hidden stashes. Ooh, armor plates are very obvious to pick up.
Yeah.
No loot, by the way. Sorry, guys. So hidden stashes on the ground. If you play Tarkov, they have hidden stashes as well. Ooh, I don't like that.
I didn't like that either.
The loot doesn't pop out of a chest. It's like you have to like grab it out of the chest and click on extra things. Oh, nerfing caveman players again. Controller players will just smash a button. Is it working that way? Is that confirmed?
2 plates off rip?
Yeah, it's weird. So it's like he opens a chest and it'll show like there's a gun in the chest, there was a claymore in that one, and ammo, and then he has to go over and click whichever one. Fucking terrible mechanic, by the way. Oh my god, that is awful. That is really bad, literally, for K-Bam players too.
I think if they add like a hotkey to where it's like you open it and then you just like press F to pick up all or pick up what you want, like the gun, maybe that'll be better.
Maybe it has that.
There's probably some settings to make that more seamless.
We're hearing also in chat, no more shooting out of the air.
That's interesting. No more shooting out of the air.
Case,
I'll take that. Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's what I want in Warzone. This is fantastic. Fuck shooting out of the air. Really happy about that.
Yeah, I'm chilling with it. So finishing up the loot thing here, yeah. So it's like Tarkov has hidden stashes everywhere. They're always in the same spot. They said that's how this worked. There's hidden stashes. They're always going to be in the same spot. So he was like, you can kind of develop your own looting path of like stashes that contain more rare items. Essentially, is what it sounded like. Another thing, toolboxes, little tiny toolboxes you can loot. They'll contain things like grenades. And yeah, just different. He also mentioned like weapon specific crates. So maybe there's different types. Oh, he's on high rise. Huskers is playing high rise right now.
Yeah.
In Warzone.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that was pretty much it for the looting aspect of it.
Yeah, so like, so just piggyback on that. Like, if you want meds, whatever that's going to end up meaning, if you go somewhere like a hospital, you're going to find a fuck ton of meds. That's not how it works in Warzone 1. If you go hospital, there are boxes and loose loot. And if you go to airport, same shit. But now they're going to be like, hospital's going to have a lot of meds. If you go to like a military base, that's going to have a lot of guns and ammo. So the looting is going to kind of make more sense in that way, which I think is a cool change. That's a solid change. And if it's like, man, we really need ammo, and we could go to either hospital or whatever, the military base. Obviously, we go to the military base. That isn't a calculation you could make in Warzone 1 that you will be able to make in Warzone 2, which I quite like.
Yeah.
A little bit of immersion, but also, more importantly, a functional, pragmatic use. Which I again think is really useful and good. So
lighting looks great too. Huskers is inside a building, everything's bright, no dark corners at all.
True.
Yeah, as of now, there's no hotkey. It looks like to drop everything out of the chest. So
I think things like that will be added, but yeah,
I fucking hope so.
Yeah. So so this next thing is very weird. So there's still going to be circles and shit. Like, you know, there's a big circle and then it gets smaller until the game's over. However, in the course of a match, one circle can split into 3 separate circles that are not touching each other. So it's like an island of no gas and then 2 other islands of no gas, all not touching each other. And then after that circle, so let's call that 4th circle, it would be the 4th like set of circles. By 5th circle, there will be another circle, and all of the current 3 circles are going to like merge toward that one, and then it goes back to being 1 circle.
Yeah, so there'll all be 3 moving circles moving in their own paths, getting back into one, and then it'll be a small final circle, yeah.
Yes, which is very weird, and I don't know how I feel about it. My intuition tells me it's probably fine, but this is something I would have to play to get used to. And they also said it can happen. I don't know if that means it happens every match or if there's only a chance of it happening. But I think it's interesting, and it can be fun and good. I'm not sure yet. I don't really know how I feel about it yet.
I think
it's definitely different.
I think it could be interesting because it can maybe make it more intense and draw people. Because like the way they described it was like you can clear out your circle's clear, then you start waiting for it to close and start fighting the other circles. I can see that being true. Maybe a lot of action happening in those different zones, a lot of close quarters fighting. I do like that. I feel like when you think about it, that should be less camping too.
It forces
because
way
you
more
can't
movement. True.
necessarily
Yeah.
sit on a roof somewhere.
Correct.
Because
I
that may
agree.
end up splitting. Where you think the circle is going to be, it may split, and then you have
I
to
see what
move
you're saying.
anyways. And then you're going to have to get into a smaller zone. So on paper, I think it kind of sounds good actually. And again, I'm open to all changes, change everything. So this sounds
Yeah.
cool to me, and it does sound random. So I'm kind of watching Huskers here to see if it happens to them. One thing I also have noticed is strongholds are not open off the rip. It got to a point about a few minutes into the game, and it said strongholds are now open. And they
okay.
still don't have a loadout, by the way. They're ground loot only, so I'm not sure what's going on. I haven't
They
seen them
didn't
go
even
to a
talk
buy.
about loadouts. So
No.
one thing they said is you can go to strongholds for loadout
Time
items.
to kill seems nice.
Yeah. They said you can go to strongholds for loadout items. They didn't say loadout in particular.
Yeah.
I don't know about perks, for example. Are there perks? Because I'm not seeing any. Are the perks lootable or are there just none? Or can you go into a stronghold and get perks? Maybe. I don't know. Which is really bizarre. And I would want to see perks in the game, but not lootable perks. I'd want to see selectable perks. So maybe it'll be the case that you enter a stronghold and then you pick up something that gives you perks you've selected out of the game. That would be cool.
Dude,
Because
there's
random lootable perks, dog shit. Don't want that.
there's typing chat. People are typing in the game. There's match chat too.
Oh, that's really
I wonder if that's
good.
just because it's a private lobby.
Oh,
or
it's
if
yeah,
that's-
possible.
I don't know.
That's possible.
That would almost get annoying, but obviously you can just turn that off if you want. I'm sure you can, like Battlefield, you can just get rid of the chat.
Yeah.
Um,
So another thing that Tom had talked about, which we've now gotten confirmation on, by default, everyone has 2 possible plate slots, but you can pick up something that gives you 3 possible plate slots.
yeah.
So you want to find that item and then you just have more health than other people.
yeah.
Like we're watching J-God Huskers and some guy on a team. Huskers and the other guy have 2 possible plates. They can't be more than 2 plated, but J-God can have 3. I don't know
We don't
exactly
know
what
why.
he picked up or how he
Yeah.
got that, but that's another thing. So that is something Thomas Henderson talked about, friend of the pod. Turns out to be correct.
There are a lot of contracts on the map. Holy shit, there are so many bounties.
There are a lot of contracts. Warzone is looking a lot different than it used to. Just in general, it feels a lot different, and I like it. I'm a fan of it.
I swear
So-
Huskers just stuck someone with a Semtex in the gulag and they didn't get down from it. Because he for sure threw it and it hit them, and then he like ran away and it showed like an animation and it just looked like he cracked a plate on them or something really weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of the gulag
So,
changes.
and real quick before we get to that, the circle splitting and then merging again, I'm open to it. Like Tanner said, I want different shit. Unless this turns out to be really catastrophic for unforeseen reasons, then I'm fine with it. This is one of those things where if it turns out there are a bunch of issues with this, I wouldn't even really blame Activision because I can't think about it and be like, oh, obviously X will happen. So I think it can be good and different and interesting. And I'm excited to see how it plays. The gulag is coming back. We are going to have a gulag again. However, here's how it works. You die. You go to a gulag. Your teammate within the gulag is some other guy who died in your game who is not a squad member of yours. So he becomes a temporary 2v2 teammate for you in the gulag, even though he's on another team. And then you fight against 2 other people. This is fucking retarded. I don't know why they would do this. I hate it. And now you're just going to be at the mercy of some random fuck, as if the gulag wasn't random enough already. So
Yeah.
really don't like that dumb fucking change. However, gulag, if you're in the gulag and you lose because your teammate is shit, shouldn't have died in the first place. So whatever. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world, but I think this is a wildly unnecessary dumb change. And I don't know why they did this. Like, what do they gain from this? That's what I'm not understanding at all.
Yeah, it seems entirely out of place. I'm not understanding it either. I don't. And now L saying there's even bots in the gulag. What? I don't believe him.
We'll have more to say on Saturday. I don't know.
I don't believe him because it specifically said you'll get teamed up with another player in the lobby and they'll be your teammate for a while. I fucking hate it, frankly. Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever. So when they started talking about the gulag, I was like, oh, gulag gone, baby. And they said gulag is now 2 versus 2. You get a random teammate. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah, it's very weird.
Another thing we just learned from watching Huskers is you have to loot. You don't spawn with anything in the gulag. The loot's like in front of you and you have to go pick it up. But it's like 10
terrible gunfight.
But it's
mode.
like 10 feet in front of you, so it's why bother? Just I'm not even going to get shot before I can pick up my shit. Just spawn me with it. Like what? It makes no sense at all. So that's terrible. The gulag is sounding worse than ever. I didn't think it could get any worse. So yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Not a fan
the
of that.
gulag map looks good though. A little play space looks good.
Yeah. It
So
did
there's
look nice.
some consolation.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah, what do we have next here?
Next up, they kind of just mentioned strongholds. Again, we still don't know. They described it as reinforced buildings that AI occupies inside, and you can get cool rewards like, quote, free loadout items. Again, they didn't say loadout drop. They said loadout items.
Yeah.
Maybe we're going perkless this year. I don't know. No idea what's going on still. From the gameplay I keep seeing, no one has gotten anything from it yet. No one knows even what to do. Again, we'll have more to talk about on that when it comes to the Saturday episode. So.
Yes. So yeah, if you guys are malding and seething that we aren't talking about every single Warzone thing, we're going to get much more detailed on Saturday. We'll have way more information by Saturday. We will have had time to kind of write out notes more meticulously, and everyone's going to know more, and then we can talk about it. First impressions, though, it's different. It's really different.
Charlie Intel just confirmed. You have to buy individual weapons you want and then upgrade them. No,
you don't even pick your
There's
attachments?
no loadout drops like before.
You don't even pick your attachments?
Certainly doesn't sound like it. And then he also mentioned something about...
That's a mistake.
Looting is very different. It's like Blackout, but that doesn't seem true because Blackout, you had to loot weapon attachments. I haven't seen any weapon attachments. So I'm not sure how the upgrading works. Maybe you go to a buy station also and then upgrade it and pay money and then you get your attachments on it. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, that part doesn't sound good. Well, maybe I was right. You told me I was a fucking idiot for thinking there'd be no loadouts, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to reserve judgment until we have all the information because I don't know what's going on. This is an alpha, so maybe loadouts are coming later. That's a cope. I don't know what's going on. We will talk more about this on Saturday, though. The purpose of today's episode is to talk about what they spoke on COD Next. Yeah. So that's what we've done.
Yep.
Here. So we'll get more into Warzone on Saturday. I'm a little worried, but it looks a lot different. So,
yeah. Smooth sack summer slowly coming to an end, boys. If you haven't been scaping for the summer sun, it's not too late to sweep your sack of those pesky pubes. A summer comes to an end, and we all enter fall. Keep your voice clean and fresh just in time for Fresh Ball Fall. The leader in below-the-waist grooming is here to make sure your pubes feel smoother than a beach ball and smell fresher than your girl's pumpkin spice or your pumpkin spice. Start the new season the right way and join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off, free worldwide shipping using the code DROPSHOT at manscaped.com. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to keep your sweet, sweet sack in check. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver Toner, Performance Boxer Briefs, and a travel bag to hold all of those goodies. Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. It has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multifunction on-off switch that can engage a travel lock, and it gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. Did I mention the trimmer's waterproof too? Whether you're hopping out of the shower or hitting up the lake, this razor will devour even the strongest pubes. Now that your sack is smooth, lather up with Manscaped's liquid formulations to get that fresh ball fall freshness. The Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant to stay cool in the heat. Their soothing aloe vera formula is the best in the business for below-the-waist freshness, and the clear drying formula keeps your sack looking and smelling excellent. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts with the Performance Package 4.0, the Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag that'll bring your comfort to another level at home and on the go. Trust me, I just used these Boxers on a 5-hour flight back from Hawaii. Ooh, they're comfortable. Keep yourself groomed from head to toe with their Shears 2.0, a luxury nail grooming kit. This kit includes stainless steel nail cutters, tweezers, and grooming scissors. With their performance package, your balls will be ready to impress, but make sure you cover the rest with the Shears 2.0. Here it is, boys. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DROPSHOT at manscaped.com. 20% off, free shipping worldwide. Use the code DROPSHOT at manscaped.com. Keep things smooth and fresh as we say sayonara to smooth ball summer and we enter fresh ball fall. Support for today's episode comes from Vincero Collective. If you aren't familiar with Vincero yet, they make exceptionally crafted and stylish watches at affordable prices. Other premium handcrafted watches have insane markups. You can finally own a high quality and lasting timepiece without going broke. And the best part is listeners of this podcast are getting hooked up to save even more with the biggest discount they offer. If you're looking for the perfect accessory to help elevate your style for a limited time only, get 20% off plus free shipping site-wide with our exclusive code DROPSHOT at VinceroCollective.com. Let me tell you guys, just got home from Hawaii. I was there for 7 days. I used my Vincero sunglasses the entire time. I felt stylish, they worked amazing, and I absolutely love them. They're a premium lifestyle brand out of San Diego that makes high quality and affordable sunglasses, jewelry, and more. Vincero is known for their exceptionally crafted, ethically made products for today's most ambitious people. Modern pieces that upgrade your look and stand the test of time. There are 3 words that come to mind when I think of their products: stylish, quality, and versatility. Vincero designs everything in-house, sources their own materials, and produces in small batches. They are committed to doing things well or not at all. For all the boss men and women out there, their watches are a must. They can elevate your look with a twist of the wrist. Made with surgical-grade stainless steel, durable silicone, and genuine Italian marble straps, these sleek modern watches come with traditional, automatic, and Japanese quartz movements. And all of their sunglasses come polarized with 100% UV protection and so many amazing styles to choose from. The eye-catching and modern designs can go with any outfit or trend. Perfect for a day in the office or a date night out. This is the perfect gift for yourself or someone you love. You can finally look like a baller without having to spend like one. Don't take my word for it though. With over 30,000 5-star reviews, they have been named GQ's go-to brand for premium lifestyle accessories. Vincero offers you a shopping experience you can trust. If you need to return or swap, no problem. Their 5-year guarantee and 365-day free return policy has you covered. From quality you can feel to style you can't deny, Vincero Collective guarantees to up your game. They can only offer this big of a discount for a limited time, so don't wait or it'll be too late. 20% off and free shipping site-wide with the code DROPSHOT at VinceroCollective.com. Support our show, use code DROPSHOT at VINCERO Collective.com. I guarantee you'll find something that fits your style. Shop Vincero today.
All right, now on to DMZ. We finally got some official talk about DMZ. So unfortunately, they didn't give us many details. And they explicitly said we still have to save some things to reveal later on. DMZ, unfortunately, was one such thing. However, we did learn a lot. First of all, DMZ is launching when Warzone launches, which is going to be... Or wait, are you sure? I thought it was when MW2 launched.
No, it was when with the launch of Warzone, which was November 16th. The launch of Season 1 is when Warzone launches and DMZ launches.
Correct. Yes. Okay. So that's when DMZ is going to release. It is played on the entire map of Al whatever the fuck. What is it called? Al Mazrah,
yeah.
Al Mazrah. So that's the play space for DMZ. The entire map. There's no gas, so you could basically go wherever you want, I guess. And AI occupy large parts of the map. And another thing they made very clear to say, particularly about the AI in DMZ, is that they are very lethal and scary, and they like deserve your attention.
Yeah.
So this is not, the way they made it sound is that these are not the same AI that are on fucking Fortune's Keep. These are AI you want to be like cautious of.
Yeah, they made it sound hard.
Yep. They will patrol areas and they will reinforce based on player action. So if you dump a squad of AI, more of them will come to help or something.
Yeah, so it sounds like they'll like chase you down almost.
Yes, indeed. He also said you will choose which mission you want to accomplish. For example, you can hunt other players, or you can hunt AI, or you can just explore the area, and certainly more other missions that they didn't go into detail on. And then he said the goal is to exfil when the time is right. Now, every single detail I've just outlined, which is basically every single detail they outlined for DMZ in COD Next, sounds exactly and precisely like Tarkov. So they use the word extraction. The AI are very dangerous. That can be the case in Tarkov, certainly more so than they are in fucking COD, usually. You can kill other people, so you will be playing with other players on the map, not just like a Spec Ops mode. Everything they talked about made it sound like Tarkov, similar to, but those were all the details we got. So there are still a lot of questions, but this was very interesting. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted more info. They didn't really give us much. It was pretty much already stuff that we had heard from leaks. Not much else. Nothing about progression. Nothing about how like the missions work or what you really do exactly. But yeah, I don't know. I wish we got a lot more. So I don't know if they're gonna have like another like big reveal or something, or how they're gonna talk about that. But they said they'll talk about it before the release. So at some point we'll get more info on DMZ. Sounds interesting. I like that it's played on the same map as the Warzone map, because it seems, from what we've seen, the map seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
But yeah, that's kind of it. Unfortunately, we didn't get more on DMZ. This is what I wanted the most, and we did not get much. But yeah.
I don't know if you picked it up. So I didn't write down exactly what she said, but it was when Snowden was talking. And she mentioned something about, like, we know you guys want, like, or asking about, like, she specifically said ranked play, and then she mentioned something else. And basically, the way she worded it was, it sounds like we are getting ranked play, but definitely not on launch. It sounded like she was basically saying, we're working on it, it's coming, you're not getting it on launch, like maybe you're not even getting it this year or something. But she mentioned ranked play. I don't think they would even say that if that wasn't something they were working on and going to be doing.
I agree.
So the fact she mentioned that, I think pretty much all but confirms we are getting a ranked play. Just no idea when.
For multiplayer ranked play.
This was when she was talking about Warzone.
Really?
That's why it's written down here. This is right when they were talking about DMZ and Warzone.
Oh, okay.
They were not mentioning multiplayer at all right here.
Oh.
She was talking about Warzone ranked play, and she mentioned like things to like grind for or something. So I think we have a whole system coming we probably just, maybe that gets introduced in like season 2 of Warzone in early 2023 or something. Which is fine as long as they don't wait till the end of 2023 to launch a ranked mode in Warzone. Hopefully we get it within like 3 or 4 months of it launching.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, hopefully we have more details on that too by Saturday. We probably won't though, but we'll cover it as they come. So yeah, Warzone 2, November 16th, the start of season 1 of MW2. DMZ will be coming along with that. They talked a bunch about Warzone Mobile. It's played on Verdansk. It looks insanely good for being played on a fucking cell phone.
It does, yeah.
And it also has the same cross progression that we are now used to with like Warzone 2 and MW2, which is cool. There is no crossplay, so you cannot emulate your mobile app on your computer and dunk on kids. This is probably good.
That was gonna dump on the mobile bots.
Regardless, but there are no bots in mobile, which is unusual, but cool. But I don't care. So I'll never be playing Warzone Mobile, but they gave a ton of details on that. It's basically exactly like Warzone 1.0 on Verdansk. That, like, the buy station's the same. The fucking gears is like everything's the same actually. So it's literally just Warzone 1 on a PS2. Like that's what it is. Which is cool, but
yeah, I think mobile gamers should be very excited. We won't ever be trying this, but for a mobile game, it looks fun. I'm sure some of you guys will like this a lot. I mean, even like, I know some people are like, oh, I'm gonna like download or like COD Mobile while I like travel and go on a flight. It's like, I'm not even gonna bother. Like, I'm on a plane for a few hours. It's like, or at a hotel or something. I can't believe I would ever sit there and play a mobile Call of Duty game for a little while if it's not something you're like playing all the time, It doesn't seem, I don't know. They don't seem like something you just drop in and play for a few hours here and there. Since there's like unlocks and everything. But anyways, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably aren't big in mobile games anyway, so you don't care. That's why we're not talking more about it.
Correct. So now, last section here, we are going to talk about our first impressions of having watched a lot of multiplayer gameplay from these streamers. This is on an alpha. There were a number of maps, at least 4, with a number of guns, and we got to see a lot. So we just wrote down our thoughts on what we were seeing in the multiplayer streamers' gameplay. In no particular order. And we'll start with this. The exact same problem we had in MW 2019 launch, we have right now, which is that once you get hurt or injured, your fucking entire screen goes red and it's like way harder to see.
Yeah.
This was a thing they did in MW 2019, and then they changed it like a week later. I don't know why they're doing it again, but they brought it back. So, just dumb and unnecessary. But they're bringing
just
that
more
back.
Clutter on your screen that we don't want.
More dog shit on your screen you don't need, exactly. Not the biggest deal in the world, but it is annoying. Next point here, this is my biggest worry. Again, this is in no particular order. This is by far my biggest worry. This is especially evident on the map Mercado. I am more than a little worried about the visibility. Mercado, it's a small ass map. There's like fucking fruit stands and shit everywhere, at least in one particular lane. When people are in that lane in shade, it is very hard to distinguish that they are there. A lot of particles, a lot of smoke, a lot of dust, a lot of muzzle flash too, which shouldn't be that big of a deal if I'm running an optic, but if I'm not guaranteed all my attachments, maybe I want to run a sub with an iron sight, but now I can't see over my muzzle flash. So I am almost certain this game is going to have a similar issue with the visibility that I had in MW 2019, which is to say there will be people on my screen that I should be able to clearly see that I don't see. But I don't know. I haven't played yet. We are watching streams, so the visibility is of course going to be worse than playing it yourself with the increased fidelity, the increased frames, refresh rate. I don't know, but I'm more than a little worried about the visibility for the exact same reasons we're in MW 2019, which is that there's a bunch of particle effects, there's a bunch of dust and smoke, and when you're in a shaded area, you're very hard to distinguish from your environment. All exactly the same fucking problems I have with MW 2019. Looks like that's going to be an issue in this game as well. I'm not at all surprised by this, and hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully this is relegated to only a few maps, but that's the impression I got. What are your thoughts?
I didn't notice it that much. Doesn't seem as bad as Vanguard. Doesn't seem as bad as MW 2019. But I think still there's a little bit too much like muzzle smoke, shit like that. When explosions are going off, that adds a lot of clutter as well. The lighting seemed better than MW and better than Vanguard.
I agree
in the
with
beta.
that.
Vanguard in the beta, there was like rainbows on your screen. It was so bright, and they still supposedly played the game and tested it, and no one noticed that, I guess, looking one direction on the map and seeing a rainbow across your screen. So yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I'm not. That's one of the last things I think I'm worried about right now. But again, that'll change within 3 minutes of me playing the game. It's hard to tell on these dog shit quality streams. Within 2 minutes of me playing one of these maps, I'll say, "Oh yeah, the visibility's terrible." Or, "Oh yeah, it seems fine so far."
I agree. I'm worried, but I'm not saying the visibility's bad. I don't know yet because Tanner's right. But once we get our hands on it, we will revisit this topic certainly. So. Next, stuns are still fucking insane. Someone got stunned and they couldn't move forever at all. They behave exactly like an MW 2019 stun. Stop. Why? And I don't know how it's going to work on controller if you can just like fight out of a stun no problem like you can in MW 2019. But stuns are really, 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 really fucking good, which is stupid. They shouldn't be as good as they are.
I feel like they're not, or they're bad against controller players too, because when I was watching Biffle's Warzone stream a little while ago, he got stunned also, and he just laid down and could like barely turn, but also he like wasn't aiming at anyone, so you couldn't see like his aim assist drag while stunned, but it looked like he could barely turn either. So at least if it's balanced between controller and K-Bam and they're both equally, you can't do anything, then that's fine. But I just don't want it so, because the first person we saw, I think, get stunned was Huskers on K-Bam, and he couldn't move at all. So I hope it's at least balanced between the two inputs.
That would be a start.
You should get no aim assist when stunned at all, by the way. I'm not even sure why
agree.
You literally get any. Should be fucking none.
I totally agree. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays.
Yep. What's up next here? Movement to me looks very, very fast. That was one of the first thing I noticed. Faster base movement speed, it appeared than like Vanguard, even, which has pretty fast sprinting base movement speed. First, I thought maybe it was just the FOV, but we watched numerous different streamers. All of them, they were zooming around the map. You could tell different ones were on different field of view as well, and they were still moving fast. So I like that a lot, especially since sliding is so bad now. That's what I said a long time ago. The base movement speed is good. We don't need sliding anyways. I have Aiden pulled up watching Warzone right now. He's zooming around, bunny hopping everywhere, going really fast. So yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, the movement does look very fast, despite not being able to slide cancel, which is exactly what they needed to do, by the way. If they want to, nerf the tac sprint refresh thing, they need to make base movement speed quicker so that you can keep a fast-paced video game, and it looks like they did that, which is really good. So I am happy to see that, and I agree. Yeah. Again, the ultimate perk shit, which we kind of talked about, I'm unclear what the fuck that is, but it was like you would get like a kill or two and then you'd unlock like an ultimate perk. So one of these was Bird Eye, which would give you a classic mini map where if someone shoots their gun, they appear on your mini map, even if you don't have a UAV. I don't know if this is like something you select in your loadout, like a field upgrade, or if it's just something everyone gets where you get to pick your ultimate perk and you don't have to like sacrifice anything to have access to that in the game. I don't really know. but they exist, which I think is probably fine. Regardless of how it works, I think it's like a cool idea. It's almost like a miniature specialist, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it.
Something different for multiplayer. It doesn't seem like it's going to be like game breaking or bad in any way. Yeah, I can't wait to get more info on this because I still don't understand it. But it appears like you would just passively gain shit because you would see people die and then they would come back, and immediately when they come back, they would it would like say that they got their ultimate perk. So maybe they got it just before they died or something. Then I don't know how it works at all, but it's basically it's like you have more than 3 perks essentially. It's like perk buffs kind of. So like when there was leaks about pro perks coming back, I think this was it.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll keep you guys informed on that.
Yeah.
But I like it in theory. I think it's cool.
Next thing here, optics look really, really clean.
Yes, they do.
But also, hey,
all of them.
They look super clean in Vanguard Alpha. They had the cleanest blue dot reticle I've ever seen in my life. They removed it, changed it to a red dot reticle, and never even gave you the option for blue dot. No idea why. Never saw it again. I don't understand it. It was the cleanest reticle in Vanguard. Never saw it again. Not even an unlock. It's truly unbelievable. Fuck Sledgehammer, of course. But yeah, they look really clean. Not a lot of sway when you like jump and move around with them, like I'd been worried about from what we'd seen from early gameplay. The dot's like always right in the middle, doesn't move all around. That's an issue with like a lot of Tarkov optics is when you move, you basically lose the dot. This is not the case. Always right in the middle, super clean little reflex sights. Haven't really seen zoom optics besides the default sniper optics. Those also seem good. Default reticle seems good. Nothing to complain about there. I haven't seen any like, VLKs or anything like that though.
Yeah, Axial. A lot of really thin bezels from every optic I saw, which is really good. Because even if they fuck up the color of the dot or the design, those will be customizable. And, they're not going to change the bezel from now till launch. So that's good. So yeah, the optics look good, which is good. Slide canceling you can't do. We already talked about that. Let's see. When you stim, you no longer get a speed boost. So there's no speed boost at all from a stim. Your field of view doesn't change at all. It is not like the MW 2019 stim. It's just a health little boost. And it seems to come out pretty slowly. It did not look that good, to be honest.
Kind of seemed like the shitty one in Vanguard, yeah.
Yeah, it did.
A little too slow to... By the time it's kicking in, doesn't matter. You're like already dead or you're...
Probably,
just don't need it anymore, yeah.
This is not a BO4 stim. This is not even an MW 2019 stim. Yeah, it's pretty shit. Which is, like, probably fine. I don't know. It would be nice to get the speed boost from it, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world to me.
Sims don't matter in multiplayer anyways. You're dead so fast, you can't even react.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see how they perform in Warzone, though, if we ever get to see them.
Next point here is that now that slide canceling is gone, the new movement strat is the oldest movement strat, which is B-hopping. B-hopping is back, and it goes crazy in this game. You can do the double B-hop while ADS, like, really strong, and it's really good. And this is going to be, once again, the advanced movement technique that you're going to want to master to separate yourself from the competition, as it were.
Yeah.
This is the new slide cancel, as it were. Kind of. Not exactly. Yeah. But yeah, B-hopping is really good in this game. It's really effective. We've seen people doing it already. It's fucking strong, which I'm in favor of. You want things like this in the game. This is cool.
Yeah, that was something I noticed pretty early on. I was like, "Oh, B-hopping's looking nasty." So you can already tell the streamers are getting used to it. Have Aiden pulled up for a while. He hasn't even slid once. He's just jumping all around the map. So don't worry, guys. It's always the bad players complaining about other people can't slide cancel or something. No offense, but those are the ones that always complain about it. Skilled players know it's not actually really a skill gap, and there's plenty of other mechanics you can use. Or just, have better gun skill and, better brains to know where to position your dumb character. And so we'll figure it out. There will be some other skill gap.
I agree. Yeah.
the Twitch chats of people like Swag and shit were just full of, oh my god, slide canceling's gone, like blah blah. It's like, dude, all of you complaining about this, you're dog shit at the game. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Yeah. I agree. And on the topic of movement techniques and gunfight techniques, b-hopping is back and drop shotting is in the game, which is good. This always just changes from COD to COD. In some Call of Duty games, you can ADS and go prone and you'll maintain ADS and be able to shoot the whole time. In some games, you won't be able to do that. BO4 is an example. Vanguard, I think, is another example. I think. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. In this game, you can drop shot, which is super good. You can ADS and go prone and shoot while you're doing that the whole time. However, you do transition to prone fairly slowly. So you can drop shot, but you don't just fucking teleport to the floor like you do in MW 2019. It certainly seems slower than MW 2019, which I'm okay with, but something to keep in mind. But you can drop shot, which I'm glad for.
Yeah, at least we can do, like you said, there's like a little animation that kind of takes place, like your arm does this like weird shit when you start going down and like your gun kind of moves, but you can stay ADS and shoot from what we saw. Not many people were doing it, but when they kind of were, you could tell like they could stay ADS and shoot the entire time. So it's looking more and more like this is all just going to be you know, bunny hopping season.
It's a B-hop meta. Yeah, we're going to be entering a B-hop meta, but you'll have that drop shot in your toolbox. So there you go. Next thing, I am super prepared to have my mind changed on this. But we watched some controller players streaming multiplayer, and the aim assist does not look that strong at all. It looks pretty bad, in fact. It very clearly does not seem like you get as much aim assist as you do in MW 2019. Now, I'm not the one playing. I don't know if they've tweaked or optimized their aim assist settings. I don't know if aim assist will be changed from now until launch. But based on what I saw of numerous controller players, the aim assist did not seem that good. The rotational aim assist also did not seem that good. Obviously, I'm in favor of this. Because I don't play on a controller and I want every advantage possible. But who knows? And if the aim assist is behaving as poorly as it looks to me, then it will be changed almost certainly.
Yeah.
So either it looked weaker than it actually is to me today, or it's going to get buffed before launch. I don't see my impression being the true aim assist strength come launch.
I think it's because it was multiplayer, honestly, and you can't see it as much because it's like you don't get that rotational as much in MP when there's like the little 3-lane maps. But it's going bonkers in Warzone. I've been watching Aiden and Biffle and that shit goes
consistently
bonkers. Yeah, it goes bonkers. It's like the same as Warzone 1 now. So I'm sure multiplayer will be the same realistically. But yeah, we didn't notice that right away. It's like, I swear it's not like dragging on people as much as it used to do. But in Warzone, you definitely notice it.
Yeah. So this is all up to change. I mean, they could change how aim assist works and we could just get more data and see more. I'm going to wait until my controller playing brethren give me a report on how strong aim assist is. But just kind of what our impressions are right there. So you do get a speed. So Dead Silence is in the game as a field upgrade in multiplayer. It does reset every time you get a kill. It makes you literally silent. You do get a speed boost and a slightly increased FOV. So it basically behaves exactly like it does in MW 2019 multiplayer. And also, once your Deady runs out, you get it again inside of 30 seconds. You basically always have it if you want it. Dead Silence is going to be fucking gross in multiplayer unless they change it. You have it up all the goddamn time. And it's really, really strong. So cool. Smile.
Yeah, it was, from what I counted, it looks like it's less than 4 kills to get it, basically. Because it's always regenning. It's got the fastest recharge rate. And then it was like 3 or 4 kills every time they would get it. So it's insane. So don't complain about not having Ninja or Dead Silence as a perk, because just run this and you basically always have it. I mean, Swag had it nonstop. Like his was about to run out, get one more kill, it fills up the meter completely. So you can stay on that sucker for a long time if you're getting kills.
You sure fucking can. Yeah. Which I hate. I hate Dead Silence. I think it's dumb. And this is going to be super, super good. Hopefully it's changed. It won't be, probably. Cringe. You just won't be able to hear people in multiplayer. So, cool. Awesome. Awesome game.
When you could hear footsteps, though, it was loud. You could hear loud footsteps very clearly.
About that.
You noticed it from the streams right away. I could hear, like, before the person even started shooting, they'd be walking somewhere. I would hear them like, oh, I hear a guy coming from the right. Sure enough, guy would run around the corner, be stomping around. Super easy to hear. When you can pick that shit up through streams, when they're also talking and shit like that, you can really figure it out. So, but that also means even more people are going to be running Deady since the footsteps are so loud. So everyone in the lobby will be running Dead Silence probably.
Yep, 100%. However, when people don't have Dead Silence popped, it does seem like you can hear them pretty fucking well. Multiple streamers said this when we were watching them. Tim the Tapman said it. That Scope guy said it as well. Maybe some others. But the consensus from what we've seen, at least, seems to be that the sound is pretty good. It's just that so often you don't hear people on these streams I'm watching. They don't hear the guy run right up on them. It's because they're all running Dead Silence. Of course they are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of the deal there. So.
Yep. Another thing we noticed here, someone got a gunship. Limited ammo for sure. It seems like you can actually run out of ammo and then you can't use that at all anymore. It also seems like MW 2019 you can spam them. Is that what it was doing?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. MW 2019 you could easily spam it. So you would press 1, fire the big missile, switch to 2, hold down that sucker, fire till it overheated, switch to 3, I think, then it was another gun, then you go back to 1, fire it. You can be doing all those at the same time. Seems like there's like a delay now, so you can't spam them as much as you could, or it was just bugged or something, because also he like couldn't use one of the ammo types. He kept saying that it wouldn't let him fire it.
Yeah,
but honestly, it may have been
25
because there was a delay and he wasn't waiting long enough because he's used to M2019. Maybe there's like a 2 or 3 second delay between switching them and he just didn't wait long enough, so we're not sure how that worked, but it could definitely just be bugged. Another interesting thing with this one, when you fire the missile, if you don't switch weapons and you move your mouse, I don't know if you have to click again or just move it, or your controller, the missile will turn and move midair wherever you moved your crosshair to and start going that direction. So in 2019, when you fired, wherever you clicked on, that's where it's going no matter what. But this, it's like you can click and then either move around and press again or just move and the thing will start moving around. Obviously, you have a set time before it hits the ground, so you're not necessarily going to hit that target where you move your crosshair to, but you can twist that sucker and turn them. So I like that a lot because that's how they are in real life. That's how those things work. It's controlled like that. So yeah, pretty cool.
And a gunship is like a good fucking kill streak. You have to get a bunch of kills. It should be fucking good.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it looked like it was good. It looks like it's appropriately powerful for how many kills you need for it, which I liked. So it was cool. Yeah, it looks good. We also saw the chopper gunner, which also looks quite good. I would say the chopper gunner is like exactly the same as MW 2019. It's probably a little better than the MW 2019 chopper gunner. Because post chopper gunner nerf in MW 2019, it seemed a little bit stronger. You don't like 1-tap people unless you're using the rockets, but you do like 3-tap them. I don't know how much health it has. No one was shooting them down, but the chopper gunner seemed good. So that was cool. There is still sun glare again, at least on some maps. It did not seem that bad in general, but there was a direction you could look on Mercado where there was entirely too much sun glare. It was not Gavutu level sun glare, but it did exist. Take the sun out of the game. But whatever, I don't care that much. And then my next thing is the time to kill is pretty fucking fast in multiplayer. Very fast. I would say the TTK is exactly the same as MW 2019 multiplayer TTK. That's what it felt like to me. You died really quick. SMGs took a couple shots, but ARs, 2-3 shots. If it's upper chest, you're probably dead. Very fast time to kill. Again, identical to me to MW 2019 TTK. Yeah.
Yeah. Hard to tell. Some of the guns seem like they're getting a lot of hit markers, but I think those were like SMG builds too.
Yeah.
I mean, they were getting like 4 or 5 hit markers at like point blank range. But most of people were just like using no attachment guns pretty much too. So you're gonna have different magazines that, or different receivers that'll change the caliber and all sorts of different things. And I'm sure there will be shit that increases damage. So we'll see how that goes. Didn't see too many shotguns. I don't know how that'll work, but yeah, overall
They're
time
good.
to kill. Again, it's like visibility. So hard to tell. You play for 2 minutes and you'll the first time you get shot, you'll tell, oh shit,
Exactly.
that was faster. Oh, that's a pretty solid time to kill. I'm pleased with that. So we'll see.
One advantage, if the TTK is as fast as I'm thinking, one silver lining to that is that burst fire weapons in multiplayer become good, which would be nice. We haven't seen that in a fucking very long time. So if an M16 is like a reliable one burst in multi, that would be cool, because then you have another option.
Yeah.
There's one silver lining, but yeah, the TTK seems awfully fast, too fast for my liking. But
Yeah.
we'll see once we play. Like Tanner said, who knows? Could be wrong on that.
Yeah. Sounds seem good, but that's to be expected with an IW game. I'm talking about like the weapon sounds, the reload sounds, at all.
The quality of
They're all,
sound.
yeah, the sound quality is much better than Cold War and Vanguard, much like MW 2019 was. I did already notice, though, multiple streamers were mentioning how the sound levels were off, and that was the big issue with MW 2019 and a big issue in Warzone still.
Gunshots
I don't know if
fucking loud.
Yeah, like people were saying that gunshots are crazy loud, and then other things are like quieter, and it doesn't balance. And that's something that was a problem in the MW beta and alpha and never got fixed. The levels of audio, the quality excellent, they fuck up the levels though. So I'm expecting that again this year, unfortunately. Probably blaring VTOLs, you can't hear a goddamn thing on the map. Really poor audio levels. So
Yeah.
hopefully that doesn't end up being the case.
On this topic, by the way, the animations and the graphics themselves are pretty good, but I don't know if it's because I'm watching streams, but like MW 2019, the animations are better and the sound quality is better, and the graphics are better.
I
am
thought
crazy?
the same thing. No, I was thinking that the whole
This
time. I
looks
was like,
more
I swear
cartoony.
this looks like a step back in terms of how smooth MW was. In terms of
Yeah.
animations, graphics, guns, all of it. Yeah, it does. Someone in chat said it early on. They said this looks like a mix between a Cold War and MW, like graphics and animations, and I think they're absolutely spot on, which is very surprising. But maybe they couldn't make the graphics better because they, have a field of view slider on last gen consoles, and also maybe it's coming to Warzone for all.
Yeah.
So if they had to make graphics worse because of that, fuck you if you own a PS4. How about that, you bitch?
Yeah.
Ruin the game for everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
It-
looks like a step back, which I'm not super happy with there.
I will add though that again, this is an alpha. They're playing on like preset machines with preset settings. These could all be DLSS on, for example.
None of these people know how to set up their PCs. All of these guys buy a PC from someone else and then pay someone else to set up their graphics and NVIDIA control panel. So yeah, like 95% of these people have no fucking clue what they're doing with their settings. So that's a
Exactly.
good point too. Some of these guys had like motion blur on. I'm like, dude, no way.
And they could be running like a bunch of anti-aliasing or none. This looks like DLSS on, actually, the more I think about it. That's what this looks like. I bet if that was off, this would look a lot better and a lot different.
One thing interesting, I think it was when I was watching Huskers, his frames going from multiplayer to Warzone didn't change.
Yeah.
I don't know what the PCs are they're playing on, but he was getting like 110 frames in multiplayer. They went to Warzone, he was getting 100 to 110 frames. So
True.
That should be good in theory. If you can maybe get 300 frames in multiplayer, maybe you'll get close to that consistently in Warzone. You won't a year from now, but maybe on launch you will. Once it gets more bloated, you of course won't.
Yeah. But even if, even if the graphics are only because everyone has DLSS on right now, then that wouldn't account for the quality of the animations. I don't know. They just don't look quite as good as MW 2019's. Which I ultimately don't care that much about, but I just thought I'd mention it. And maybe that opinion will change once launch comes. Maybe things get smoothed out a bit. I doubt it. And maybe once I play it myself. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah. Fewer doors than MW 2019. That's true.
That's something multiple streamers said. I didn't notice it either, but I heard a few people say that's the only reason I wrote it down.
Yeah, that's which is probably good. Doors never bothered me really, but it's probably good if there are fewer of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Warzone has plenty of doors. Every building has doors still, but in multiplayer, definitely less.
Yeah. 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 True. Yeah. And then last point here, mantling is extremely fast.
Yeah, in a good way.
You are a track star, dude. You're fucking mobbing over shit, which is really, really good. So if you want to like parkour your way through whatever, you can do it quicker than in any COD game I think there's ever been. You mantle really fast, which I'm a huge fan of. That's really good. So I'm pleased to see that. The speed in general of the game, the base movement speed plus how quickly you mantle, and probably how quickly you climb up shit too, is probably really fast, which is really, really good. So I am happy to see that as well. And then once we play ourselves, really we can talk about sprint out time and shit. Because another thing I was saying is that Swag, we were watching him and he's on controller, so he has auto tac sprint on. That was obvious. But his sprint out time from tac sprint seemed pretty fucking fast, which is really good, if true. We will let you guys know. That depends on the gun, of course. But fast sprint out time means you don't get punished quite as much for rushing, and you don't get quite as rewarded for camping. So it looked like he had a really fast tac sprint out time, which is really good. And hopefully that is the case, but we won't really ultimately know that until we play ourselves.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else, Tanner?
No, I don't think so. Right. I think in general, give my brief overview. I think multiplayer looks better than I expected, and I'm very excited for multiplayer, especially with all the ground war we get on launch and everything. I'll definitely have something to play all year long with that. It'll be just ground war alone will make the game playable for me for sure. You can kind of avoid a lot of the shit a little bit more, like, Vanguard, DOS House. Can't avoid anything. You're just always getting thermites thrown at you. When there's larger maps, more players, you can kind of avoid a lot of that shit. So that's why Ground War, I think, is so good. But the more we've seen of Warzone, as we'll talk about on Saturday, the more worried I get about that. Multiplayer looks really good, though. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, for sure. What was I going to say? Yeah. So the topic of today's episode was COD Next and what they talked about. And we learned a lot, and I'm excited to play the fuck out of this game. And I'm kind of with Tanner. I'm more excited for multiplayer than I thought I would be. And I'm a lot less excited for Warzone than I thought I would be. But we don't have all the information on anything yet. So I'm still going to reserve judgment. And we will have a lot more to say on Warzone on Saturday. So reminder, on Saturday, that's when we're doing that episode. DMZ is still what I want to learn most about. Maybe that is where they brought loadouts, by the way. Maybe they're like, yeah, we're going to take loadouts out of Warzone, but like you can get them in DMZ. And that way people will still like feel attached to their guns or whatever. I don't know. There are a lot of questions, but stay tuned for the Saturday ep. We are going to talk a lot about Warzone. We're going to have a lot more information. We're going to get a lot more detailed. That's going to be a really, really, really solid episode. And also patreon.com/thedropshot. We've got all of our bonus eps ahead of us. They are all going to be related to MW2, DMZ, and Warzone 2. And there is a giant cache of information to talk about, and there's a bunch of things to sink our teeth into. The Patreon eps are going to be really good this month. Once again, patreon.com/thedropshot. Best way to support the show. Ad-free, early access, and bonus eps. This is a great fucking month to sign up if you've been interested as we gear up for the new games to come out. And again, reminder, this Saturday is going to be a really good episode too. I'm very, very curious and very excited to get more into the details, into the weeds, into the seaweeds, as it were, for Warzone 2. So with that said, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We are done. We've been live for 5 hours. We did it. Thank you all for watching and listening. Have an excellent evening and stay humble.
Stay humble.